This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is February 1st, 2021. This is show number 199. Well, Nick, market's going crazy today, huh?
Well, we got a little uptick in the major indexes, but let us not forget that the markets got spanked on Friday. I mean, they were hit pretty hard. All the major indexes were down on Friday, but the talk of the town is still Gamestop, AMC, and now we have silver spotlighted as the next great short, and we're seeing a big run in silver today. Silver futures up right now by about 8%, so it's pretty wild action out here.
All right, so people have been pouring into SLV. I heard that on Friday, SLV got 30 million ounces transferred into their vaults, whatever that means. And when you look at SLV, it's an open-end fund, which means you can buy as many shares as you want, and then they, in theory, have to go into the market and buy more ounces. You think at some point the SLV is going to become a closed-end fund?
I don't know about that. I don't think they would want to do that, but I think because they wanted to trade like a stock. So they're not going to look to have it become a closed-end fund. I think they're going to just keep it the way it is right now. Is today an extraordinary event, or is, last week an extraordinary event? Maybe we'll see. But, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Plus, I think people will just obviously just go over and trade the futures if they need to.
Yeah, and the metal is pouring out of the COMEX vaults as well, since COMEX has become a delivery market rather than a hedging market.
That is a great point, and people don't realize, but silver has many, many uses. It's really too many to even get into because it's from the medical field, electronic field. I mean, every field has uses for silver. So, people need to take delivery of this stuff. It's not like it can just sit on the shelves anymore.
They got to stand for delivery, and maybe the day of massive manipulation on the COMEX is coming to an end.
I think it could be, and we've already known for years and years and years. You've seen the lawsuits, who manipulated silver and gold, It's been going on forever. But maybe this time around, if you take out certain levels, silver really is sustainable to have a much, much bigger advance. And in all fairness, Kerry, we've been talking here how the silver chart has been stronger than the gold chart for the last couple months. And, that was the way it was talking to us. Now, I know the Reddit boards or the Wall Street bet boards are getting all the credit for silver moving up today, and rightfully so. They have been touting it. But the reality of it is it has been showing better relative strength than gold recently.
Yeah, that's very true. We've talked about that numerous times, and got to believe that once the momentum starts behind it and it finds support at higher levels, if it breaks 30, where's the next point?
Well, if you break the $30 level in silver futures now, then you're probably looking at 35. 35 is going to be a 618 retrace, and that retrace goes back to the 2011 top, which occurred in April of 2011, to the most recent bottom, which occurred in March of 2020. And remember back then we said that silver came off of the lows with real vengeance. It came there with power, and it rallied up, and that usually is indicative of another resuming move to the upside. So I think the 35 level, which is that 618 retrace on that big monthly chart, that would be your next spot. And then after that, it's right up to 40. You get through 45, you test the old highs at 49.82, and then then it's new all-time highs. So you got a way to go before you get there. You got to see how this thing reacts by the weekly close. That'll tell us a lot more. Today, what happened in silver futures, you went up and you tested the August highs. The August highs were $29.91 on silver futures, and today we went, I believe, as high as $30.35. We pierced that level, which is normal. Then you come back underneath it, but we'll see. We get a weekly close above there. This thing's going to 35 in a heartbeat.
Wow, that would be something else, huh? So let's go back to the short squeeze stocks. There's a bunch of them, and it looks like I just wonder. I know that the Reddit guy, Wall Street Bets, is definitely had a role in this, but he bought $750,000 worth of GameStop several months ago. And that is a big position. That's not really representative of the people who've been pouring into the stock. So there's got to be something else going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really looked into the boards. I'm more of a chartist, so I like to just look at the price action. In my opinion, 3 days ago it went parabolic in the pre-market on, I believe on last Thursday it went to 500. Then you had a retest in the open market of a move going to $483. Today you're seeing GameStop as we speak, and this could change later, but it's down about 28% right now, trading at around $235. So, it has come in, but it's hanging in there. But if it starts to break, the dam breaks a little bit here, this can easily go down to $100.
Hey, and one thing I want to mention, you were talking about how corrupt it was and awful that these brokerage houses were restricting purchases, and also I heard they're restricting sales. You could sell one share of the stock. If you look at Robinhood, their biggest customer for their data to front run all of the Robinhood account holders is none other than Citadel. Citadel and Stephen A. Cohn both bailed out Melvin Capital, and so effectively was Robinhood following the interest of Citadel, or did they sacrifice the interest of their clients who don't pay them any money anyway in exchange for the interest of its largest client?
Well, I think Robinhood had a bigger issue with capitalization, and they're trying to stay alive. As you know, they're trying to become a publicly funded entity. They're trying to go public. That hasn't happened. I'm surprised they didn't try to push it out the door with the DoorDashes and the Airbnbs, who also don't make any money. But, I think they're fighting for their survival. They're just trying to survive. They didn't think this was going to happen. Like all brokerage firms, they'll just put out the message that, we're looking at the best interest of our client. But we all know
whoever they might be.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, again, I think they were underfunded. They needed to borrow $1 billion last week. Who knows how much money they're going to need to borrow going forward. Open markets, you should be able to buy and sell what you want. I mean, that's an open market. But we saw the same thing with Interactive Brokers. I saw the CEO on CNBC, and he was like, this should be a $15 stock. It shouldn't be up here. Who cares? It's where anybody wants to pay for it. If they want to pay $1,000 a share, that's up to them. They can pay $1,000 a share. So, again, we know that there are bigger players behind the under the curtain over there, and they're hiding out because they don't want to be exposed. And there are people that are financially strapped right now because of this squeeze. And there are a lot of hedge funds. It's not just Melvin. You probably could say 100 others. Like the old cockroach theory. If there's one, there's 1,000. So these are the issues, and that's why the stock has been able to stay up here so long. Probably does need to go back down to $10 or lower, but it's hung in there because these guys, when the price comes down, they start to buy back, covering their shorts, and that's when we get another squeeze, and that's what's happened.
And this is issue of collateral too, supposedly for Robinhood, and the guy is trying to explain it. The guy who runs Robinhood, you and I might understand it, but most investors don't have a clue what he's talking about. But evidently, they had collateral issues, and as the position went up and it got higher, their collateral calls came. But also, I got to believe that when you short a stock, it gets shorted instantly. And how can they borrow the shares, transfer them to you in a case where there's a short squeeze going on? And it just doesn't sound reasonable.
They can't. You can't borrow it. So I've just did a few test trades, and I couldn't borrow the stock. I haven't been able to borrow it for almost 2 weeks. So, again, what's going on here? The big problem is the imbalances. This stock was had 140% short interest at its peak. Somebody figured that out. How could a stock have over 100% short interest, right? You can only borrow shares to go short. So that means you're shorting stock that's not even there. So that's a big problem. But that's not for me to work out. That's for these brainchild regulators to work out.
Yeah, well, they've allowed the naked shorting to go on for too long. And the one thing you got to realize is broker dealers are allowed to naked short. They're actually allowed to do it. And that's what the hedge funds use. They use these out of the way, obscure broker dealers to go naked shorting stocks. And, I've seen it in the precious metals sector for years, and I've seen them get squeezed out there as well. So good things ahead, bad things ahead too. Just be ready for the eventual advance of precious metals. metals. It's coming, whether we're on a gold standard or not. I don't think we're going on a Bitcoin standard. My friend was arguing, this isn't anything for metals. They're just going to underperform cryptos forever. And I'm just not buying it, because one thing for sure is if I got a bag of silver, I got a bag of silver. If I got a bag of Bitcoin, like what do you do with a bag of Bitcoin? There's no such thing, right?
Well, think about this. Kerry. If the grid ever went down, just say there was no internet, what do you do with your Bitcoin?
That's a good question.
How are you going to transact anything? So what's going to happen eventually is you're going to see people wanting a hard asset. That's why people right now are buying land. They want something tangible, want something that they could feel, they could hold, they could bang against their desk. They don't want something that, is put on a hard drive, and God forbid you ever have the internet go black. What happens? You can't do anything. It's almost like the ATM machines, right? You have where you can't walk into the bank, but you got the ATM. But what happens if that ATM card don't work? You're out of luck there at least for that time. So, I'm a big student of history. I read the Bible every day. The gold and silver have been talked about in the Bible from the very first book to the very last book. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, well, they're always going to be around, silver and gold, and they'll always be money. And I think
real money too, real money, not money that can be printed by central bankers around the world. And that's the other point that people forget. Central bankers have been printing infinitely. Potentially, the price of gold and silver should possibly be a lot higher than where it is now, right? But it's what somebody's willing to pay for it. We know manipulation goes on; it's been going on forever. But the reality of it is, price is price. And if you can actually hold that metal, that's pretty important.
Absolutely. Could not agree with you more, Nick. And we're going to leave it at that. Make sure you go over to inthemoneystocks.com. Check out Nick's trading record. Sign up, because potentially the trade of the decade is coming real soon, very soon, maybe in a matter of days. So you really want to sign up. Check out the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz. Send us your emails. In any event, send me your emails, kl@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow.
Sounds good, Kerry.
And so concludes another episode of Daily Market Wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Be sure to go to his website, inthemoneystocks.com. Don't forget the Twitter feeds at ITMS and at Nick Santiago01.